Alan Watts was a philosopher who dedicated his life to explaining Eastern teachings to a Western audience. Alan taught that the mind and the ego are flexible and can change, and that simple yet deep Zen idea could become your main pillar for reaching your fullest potential. In the 1960s, Alan moved to San Francisco, where his new ideas would later move everybody who listened to him to a newfound source of purpose and commitment. So let's see how Alan Watts could help you find your passion forever. Number 1, identify your strength. You can learn a lot about yourself by asking people you care about and respecting what qualities they admire most in you. Make a list of people you can talk to for advice on what kinds of jobs would be a good fit for your skills and interests. Identifying what drives you is the first step toward reaching your potential. Think about when you accomplished something remarkable. These occurrences may be significant or trivial. Include your reflections on these special moments in your journal. The next step is to review each entry and determine what good things you did there. These are your strongest points. For instance, you could talk about the day you won an essay contest, the first day of your internship, and a private poetry reading you went to as your 3 experiences. This is one of the best ways to find your strength. Number 2, find the link between your life goal and your success. Your life successes may often be linked to specific objectives you establish for yourself. You might find it hard to understand Alan Watts' philosophy because he doesn't seem to care about money. If money is your only motivation, you'll waste your time on things that don't matter beyond the bottom line, and you could miss the point on the things that don't cost you a dime. Simply staying alive and spending your days in a job you hate will make you miserable. Finding your passion but winning no money will make you work too hard for nothing. So there is a balance you can find to create a vital link between both. When Alan says forget about money, you could think he doesn't appreciate it or expects you to labor for free. But what Alan Watts really meant was that everything you do, from the job you do to the relationships you nurture to how you choose to spend your time and energy, should be guided by your why, purpose, and deepest desires. So do not let your work consume you. Instead, value it for what it is. Number 3, keep a clear head. It's possible that if you overwork, you won't ever be able to get the kind of job that pays well, get the kind of promotion that brings prestige, buy the kind of car that costs a lot of money, or buy the kind of house that most people dream of owning. No matter how hard you try, it's always conceivable that you won't succeed. One of the most exciting aspects of finding your calling is that it can include something other than generating money. It's easy to fall into the trap of only identifying with our work. Putting in the work required to follow your calling is more important than worrying about what other people will think of you or chasing after conventional measurements of success. Concentrate on learning as much as possible about your field of study. After all, to quote Alan Watts in his own words, it's crazy to waste time doing things you don't enjoy so that you can keep spending money on products you don't like and doing activities you don't like. Number 4, the pathway to the best you. According to Alan Watts, this is the reality and we must accept it. When we look at the stars, we don't evaluate the constellation's placement based on whether or not we like it. Human language is inherently deficient, but you can find purpose by comparing one thing to another, which is the very reason for the existence of words. The presence of evil serves as a necessary counterpoint to the right thing. In Alan Watts' view, these labels are meaningless, since there is no such thing as bad or good, negative or positive. All of them are equivalent, functioning as 2 sides of the same coin. Realizing that everything we go through is merely something we learn from is the key to living an unrestrained life. A life that could take us directly to our life's purpose. If we always resist just one side of the coin, we will never see life for what it is, a palette with numerous colors and tones. Number 5, be flexible. No one is more dangerously crazy than one who is always sane, as Alan Watts put it. If you're always reasonable, you're as hard and brittle as a steel bridge. One way of describing sameness, artificiality, and a narrow worldview is rigidity. Eastern philosophers revere water because it teaches us how to deal with things we can't control. Life isn't straight and predictable, therefore being rigid will only lead to boredom and stagnation. You will be unable to kick back and take it easy, and when the curse is lifted, you will be horrified by how much time you wasted. Don't resist the current, instead, go with the flow. Number 6, keep in touch with nature. Like falling leaves, we are not born into the world, but rather emerge from it. Alan Watts has pointed out a major problem today: the separation of people from nature. Common belief holds that we humans are visitors from another planet. The human desire to dominate and subjugate nature is obvious. If you forget that you too are a part of nature, you leave yourself vulnerable to the effects of every choice you make. The degradation of the environment, including climate change, loss of natural resources, poisoning of water supplies, etc. Like a tree's roots, humanity is entwined with the cosmic web, and you will all come to appreciate this fact at some point in the future. No matter what you do, it won't work. When the earth dies, we all die. Number 7. Lear to Dance. Alan Watts describes an undeniable truth when he says, the world would be motionless, rhythmless, and mummified if not for birth and death and the constant metamorphosis of all life forms. The beauty of life lies in the fact that everything is always changing and never stays the same. The nature of this world's progress will remain a mystery for as long as it exists. That everything is in a constant state of flux is something we must accept if we are to survive. Since humans evolved on this planet, we can adapt new circumstances, and the only option is to accept who you are and move with the rhythm of this magnificent dance rather than fight against it. Number 8. 100% responsibility. According to Alan Watts, first-hand experience is the only way to make sense of existence. The more you try to put the universe into neat little boxes, the farther we become from reality. Only via the boundaries of language and social conventions are we able to protect ourselves from the intangible. To understand this idea, you must stop looking at the finger and start looking at where the finger is pointing. It's one of the safest and smartest paths to finding your true purpose, saving the energy you use in pointing the finger to look at the root of the problem. This means that instead of categorizing our experiences, we should allow them to form us and analyze the root of why we are pointing in that specific direction. Number 9. Relax for the future. There is no room for question that Alan Watts was a committed follower of Eastern philosophy. One of the major tenets of Eastern philosophies is the necessity of living in the present moment. As he said, being eternally present in the moment makes future planning pointless. The only way to stop worrying about the future is to stop stressing out, and the only way to stop feeling sad is to live in the present and enjoy everything life offers. You can change your view immensely by looking with pride at your present and making preparations for a better one. Making the most of our present moment can help us plan for the future. Mastering gratitude for the here and now will prepare you for everything life may throw at you. Number 10. It's not always about money. Alan Watts loved to ask one of the most groundbreaking questions. What would you do if money was not an issue? The answer behind it can surprise you and point directly to your purpose. You often can't pursue your dreams of being artists, authors, or poets because of the consensus that such careers do not pay well. But never underestimate what your passion can do for you. By embracing change, you can get in the right flow. What are your key strategies for finding your real purpose? Tell us in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.